unprecedented time. Second, I would like to thank Linda Durant. Linda, please stand. As a parent and community member, Linda spearheaded the efforts to make sure the class of 2020 was recognized by the community. Although your year didn't end as planned, Linda's work ensured the community came out in force to show their support for our graduates. Linda's work is being honored with a brick that we placed alongside the class of 2020. Thank you again, Linda. Woo! Please welcome Gaylord Community Schools Superintendent, Mr. Brian Pearson, to the podium to continue our recognitions.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges. I was hoping he'd talk a little bit longer and that sun would get down, but probably not going to happen. These last 5 months, I've been reminded how special a place Gaylord is. And I've spent my life here, and I treasure my time here, and I think we have the best school and the best students in the state. But I was really reminded of that, how special our community is when this pandemic started. Unsolicited, I received calls, and some of those are here tonight. AmeriFirst Mortgage gave me a call. Albies gave me a call, among a lot of other organizations, and said, what can we do to help during this time? And they came forward. Actually, the help that they gave was significant and helped us through a really rough time and helped our families through a tough time. There's a couple other organizations and people I'd like to recognize tonight. I can't recognize everybody, but I want to recognize these organizations because they had a special link to the class of 2020. The first group I'd like to recognize, and Scott, you say this every Sunday, but I get to say it now. So Scott and Brian Gershenberger from E-Free Church, would you please stand and remain standing until I give you the signal where you could be seated. When this happened, this pandemic happened, received a call from Scott. So what can we do to help? And during that short time, there were some donations they made until some federal assistance came through to help our families meet some basic needs. Also, when we started our online school, they said, what can we do there? And they moved their hotspots to the exterior of the building, opened up their Wi-Fi, and opened up their parking lot for any students or parents that wanted to come in there and use it. When it came to graduation, and we decided we had to go with a virtual graduation, they said, we have a studio and we can make this happen, and really produced a high quality product that's been viewed more than any other video on our website. I think you're up to about 12,000 views. So I know you've seen it, every one of you, and maybe several times, and it'll be there for you to watch over and over again. So that would not have been possible without E-Free Church. And so to honor that, well, first let's give a round of applause. Thank you for joining me in thanking E-Free and Scott and Brian. To honor that commitment and those things that you gave down, we're adding E-Free to our Wall of Fame, which is that wall that you see closest to the field. And also, Brian, we have a brick with your name on it for your work, specifically producing that senior graduation. And we're going to place that right next to the senior bricks when we're done. So thank you very much. You may be seated. The next person I want to honor is a board member. And shortly after you entered kindergarten, Terry Distel joined our board. And as many of you know, he has 2 grandchildren that are in the class of 2020. Terry's an accountant by trade, but when we worked in the boardroom, he not only took that expertise about numbers to the table, but he also has a big heart. And in Terry's heart, every one of you were one of his grandchildren. And he made decisions and supported things that made sure our school was safe, to make sure that you had a good curriculum, that we had good teachers, and that the money was put into the classroom. So Terry, would you please stand and be recognized? Terry, this is his last act as a board member. He is retiring from the board. And to honor that commitment, we also have a brick with Terry's name on it that's going to be put next to the class of 2020. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pearson. At this time, the commemorative coins will be presented to the class of 2020 by members of the Gaylord Community Schools Board of Education. The names of each graduate will be read by Gaylord High School Assistant Principals Mike Stefanski and Christian Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges. Would the first row please stand up? And would you please follow Kaylin as she walks around our honored guests over to the stage here? Thank you. Kaylin Adderman. Taylor Armstrong. Tyler Ashley. Emily Bishop. Jacob Book. Connor Bradfield. Jasmine Brandenberger. Corey Brownell. Jacob Cleaver. Hannah Connor. Elizabeth Cook. Jasmine Kreiderman. Sarah Dougherty. Lily Dysick. Jeffrey Dixon. Regan Distal Poreth. Patrick Dorrance. Emma Edwards. Grace Farina. Celia Fowler. Row 2, would you please stand and come to the stage? Thank you. Carson Game. Brooke Gapinski. Riley Gapinski. Sam Gorno. Trevor Haney. Rayanne Harding. Jackson Holscher. Corey Hoover. Hannah Johnston. Desiree Kasuba Baker. Nadia Keller. Kendall King. Gabriel Kleinsorge. Autumn Knox. Joseph Kotsko. Maisley Krieger. Kylie Quapis. McKenna Kwiatkowski. Chase LaJoy. Third row, would you please stand up? Make your way to the stage.